It was a cloudy Wednesday afternoon when I found myself standing on a small wooden chair in the living room, trying to fix the curtain rod that had come loose again. My name is Eleonora. I'm 68 years old. And ever since my husband passed away 8 years ago, I've grown comfortable doing most things on my own. Fixing things, cooking for one, talking to myself when the silence grows too thick. I had just adjusted the left side of the curtain and was reaching for the right when I lost balance slightly, catching myself with a small gasp. The sudden knock at the door startled me more than it should have. I wasn't expecting anyone. Straightening my cardigan, I stepped down and peeked through the peephole. A young man in a postal uniform stood holding a brown package, looking around as if unsure if anyone would answer. I opened the door slowly, unsure of what to expect. "Afternoon," he said with a polite nod. "Package for Ms. Eleonora Vance?" "That's me," I replied, taking the package. "Strange. I don't remember ordering anything." He smiled. "Might be a gift. Happens more often than you'd think." I thanked him and closed the door, setting the box on the table. There was no return address, just my name and a tracking number. I stared at it for a long while before opening it. Inside was a small, hand-painted ceramic bird. It was nearly identical to one my mother used to keep by the window in the house I grew up in. My eyes welled up with tears before I could stop them. Who could have sent this? That was the beginning. The next few days were filled with quiet speculation. I asked my daughter. She hadn't sent it. My neighbor knew nothing about it either. Part of me wondered if it had been sent to the wrong person. But the handwriting on the label, it felt familiar. The next week another package arrived. This one contained a bundle of dried lavender tied in twine, and a note. It simply said, "You once told me this scent reminded you of your happiest days." I sat down immediately, the weight of memory crashing into me like waves I thought I'd long outswum. It couldn't be. That line. I had written it in a letter. A letter I had sent 45 years ago. His name was Arthur. We had met in Paris in the summer of 1978. I was in my early 20s, working as a freelance illustrator. He was an American backpacker who carried a notebook of poems, and the kindest eyes I had ever seen. We spent 3 weeks together, and then life happened. I returned home. He left to travel more. We promised to write. And we did for a time. But eventually, the letters stopped. That lavender? I had once dried a bundle just like it in the apartment we stayed in. I had pressed a piece of it into the final letter I sent him. It had taken years for me to forget the ache that followed when there was no reply. Now someone had that memory in their hands. Each week that followed, a new package would arrive. A French coin. A map with a single park in Lyon circled in red ink. A photo of a small cafe in Marais. Each one chiseled into the foundation I had laid around that old chapter. I began to feel something stir again. Curiosity, warmth, something else I didn't have a name for. And then one afternoon a letter. Written in shaky handwriting, it began. "Dear Eleonora, I am so sorry it took me this long. But if you're still the woman who gave me 3 unforgettable weeks, I'd like to see you again." He had signed it. Arthur J. Wells. I sat in my living room for hours, the letter clutched in my hands. The world had changed so much. I had changed. I was no longer the carefree girl sketching in parks and drinking wine out of paper cups. I was someone's mother. A widow. A quiet woman with gray streaks and hands that remembered touch only in dreams. And yet something inside me said yes. Arthur had included his number. When I called, he answered on the second ring. His voice was older, slower, but familiar. "I didn't know if you'd call," he said gently. "Neither did I whispered. We talked for hours that first time. And the next. And the next. He lived 2 states away. He had never married. He said he spent years wondering if he had imagined our connection. That maybe I had moved on quickly. But the truth was I hadn't. I had simply folded it into my life like a soft scarf I no longer wore, but couldn't throw away. A month later, Arthur came to visit. He was thinner than I remembered, his hair nearly all white. But his eyes, those eyes hadn't changed. We spent the weekend walking slowly through the town, sitting in cafes, talking about our favorite books. When he reached for my hand the first time, I let him. He left Sunday evening, but not before saying, "I don't know what this is anymore, Eleonora. I just know I want more of it. I smiled. So do I. It's been 6 months. We take it slow. Some weeks we talk more than others. Some visits are longer. But something in me feels full in a way it hadn't in decades. All because of a curtain, a knock, and a memory I thought I'd buried.